there's still a lot of hunting to be had ahead of us. In the post-rut, late November, early December, there's lots of opportunities still ahead, and that's what I want to talk about today. Well, I am just coming off of a 3-week rut hunting marathon, and what that means for me is I'm pretty exhausted, kind of worn down, and I gotta believe a lot of you are too. You know, late October into those first 2.5 weeks in November can just be an absolute grind, but there's still a lot of hunting to be had ahead of us. In the post-rut, late November, early December, there's lots of opportunities still ahead, and that's what I want to talk about today. I wanted to share a couple quick ideas, couple quick thoughts about the post-rut time period. And the first of those is just kind of what I alluded to. It's the fact that we need to stay in it. We got to stay positive because there is still a lot of deer hunting to be had. Yeah, I mean, we do look forward to the rut all year. That is our Super Bowl. That is typically the best of the best. At the same time, gosh, some of this rut hunting activity can still be happening in late November, first off. Number two, many times when deer start getting back on that bed to feed pattern in late November into early December, that sometimes can be the key to success for a lot of guys because these deer become predictable again. So definitely don't feel like it's all done, especially if you are in one of these states where the gun season hasn't occurred yet. You know, for here in Michigan, tons of hunters, things definitely change at this point because our gun season opened November 15th. But if you're in Ohio or Iowa or one of these other states with that late rifle opener, these deer are still relatively unpressured, still acting normal and rutting behavior really here in the tail end of the month. So this can be one of the best times of year to get out there. Now, speaking of bed to feed patterns, that is another important thing to think about at this time of year. When you're getting into the post-rut, late November into early December, we're returning to that traditional bedding, feeding pattern. So understanding where the does and bucks are bedded, understanding where they're going to feed. These deer have been run ragged over the last month. They need to refuel, especially if you get a cold front push through, maybe some snow. Now's the time to get on those food sources. So this time of year, it's really about trying to determine what that very most attractive food source is and finding a way to hunt it smartly. And I think the final thing worth noting is that even though this is traditionally post-rut, late November, early December, there is typically in many states, many areas, you're going to see a tiny bit of that second rut. I have not seen this many times. It's not a very consistent thing, but when you do have these fawns that reach sexual maturity by that second time around, which would be, you know, if let's say most does are coming into estrus, let's say the beginning of November, well, then you're going to get these fawns that might be coming into estrus in the beginning of December. Those deer can still get some action rolling. I've seen this a couple times. Last year in Ohio, I happened to catch it where there was a fawn that was hot in estrus, and there was like 7 or 8 different bucks running all over the place. So if you see that, revert back to your rut hunting tactics for the next day or two around there and just try to be where you think that doe is going to be. Try to get tight to those doe bedding areas where that doe might be. Try to be on the food source where that doe might be headed, because you might just get into a rut fest just as exciting as early November if you happen to catch it just right. So I'm not saying it's something you should plan for, but if you happen to notice some rut type activity, key in on it. Don't just say, oh, that was interesting, and then go about the rest of your hunt. Focus on that for the next day or two, because you can really take advantage of a disproportionately high opportunity situation. So that's what I have to say. First and foremost, there's still a lot of things that can go right for you moving forward. So stay out there, stay positive, stay in it. Number two, really focus on the bed to feed pattern. What's the most important food source right now? And then last, if you happen to see some of that magical second rut action, get in there after it and take a stab. So I know I've got a lot of I guess walking the walk to do, and not just talking the talk. I've got to keep at it too, try to stay positive. That's sometimes easier said than done, but that's my game plan. And I've got so many different stories and some footage to share from my rut hunting spell there. Some of it's going to be on an upcoming season of the Meat Eater TV show, which will be exciting. Some of it will be here on the YouTube channel, but I need to recover a little bit from the rut marathon, and then I'm going to be getting right after these post-rut deer too. So until then, good luck, and hopefully I have something to share soon.